Tip number 21: count the calories as you eat. Check the label of any packaged product for the number of calories and the serving size. For unpackaged food, buy a calorie counting book. Tip number 22: if you consume more calories than you should one day, add a bit of extra physical activity to your routine for the following day. Tip number 23: stay away from fried foods. The oil used for frying penetrates into the food and adds unwanted calories. Tip number 24: do not skip meals. The worst thing you can do while watching your weight is skip a meal. It has just the opposite effect of what you want. You need to have at least 3 regular meals every day. Tip number 25: fresh vegetables are better than cooked or canned vegetables. Try to eat your vegetables raw. When you cook them, you are removing nearly half the vitamins. Tip number 26: 1 egg a day. It's best if you reduce your egg intake to 3 a week. If you're in the habit of eating eggs every day, limit your eggs to 1 a day maximum. Tip number 27: make chocolates a luxury and not a routine. Tip number 28: choose a variety of foods from all food groups every day. In addition to helping you lose weight, it also helps your body fight deficiency diseases. Change the foods you eat each day so you do not get bored of your diet. Tip number 29: very limited or no alcoholic beverages. Tip number 30: try to have breakfast within 1 hour of waking up, so your body can charge itself with the energy it needs for the day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but it does not mean that it should be the most filling meal of the day. Tip number 31: 50% to 55% of your diet should be carbohydrates. It is a myth that you should try and avoid carbohydrates when you are on a diet. Carbohydrates are an instant source of energy. Tip number 32: 25% to 30% of your diet should be proteins. Protein is an active part of keeping your body healthy. Tip number 33: fats should only be 15% to 20% of your diet. Tip number 34: try and adopt a vegetarian-style diet. A vegetarian diet is healthy, but research has shown it often is missing vital minerals that come from eating meat. If you try a vegetarian diet, allow yourself to eat meat on the weekends. Tip number 35: choose white meat rather than red. White meat, which includes fish and fowl, is healthier than red meat. Tip number 36: high-fiber multigrain breads are better than white breads. Multigrain breads allow you to increase your fiber and protein intake. Tip number 37: reduce your intake of pork. Pork is not something that can help you to lose weight. So the lesser pork you eat, the better chances you have of losing weight. And remember that pork includes the pork products as well, things like bacon, ham and sausages. Tip number 38: limit your sugar intake. Use sugar substitutes to sweeten your food. They are just as sweetening, but not fattening. Tip number 39: graze 5 to 6 times a day. Instead of sticking to just 3 meals a day, try grazing. Grazing means having 5 or 6 smaller meals instead of 3 large meals. It is an excellent way of having smaller quantities of food. Tip number 40: eat cheat food occasionally, but only for flavor. There are many foods you need to avoid in your diet, but you may have an undying craving for them. Do not avoid them altogether. Indulge in them once in a while, but only in moderation. Don't use them to fill up, but simply to fill a craving. Enjoy the flavor. Tip number 41: watch your fat intake. Each fat gram contains 9 calories. By knowing the total calories and the quantity of fat in your food, you can estimate the percentage of fat. Fat content should not exceed 30%. Tip number 42: go easy on salt. Too much salt is one of the causes of obesity. Tip number 43: change from butter to cholesterol-free butter. It tastes the same, but is much healthier for you. Tip number 44: instead of frying food, try baking it. Baking is a healthier method of preparing food because it doesn't require excessive amounts of fat or oil. Tip number 45: use a non-stick frying pan for your cooking so you do not have to add oil. Tip number 46: steam your vegetables instead of cooking them. The best option is eating your vegetables fresh. However, if you do not like eating fresh vegetables, try steaming them without adding any additional salt or seasoning. This is the healthiest way to eat cabbages, cauliflowers and a host of other vegetables. Tip number 47. Carry parsley with you. Parsley is an excellent thing to munch on between meals. It's vitamin-rich and keeps your breath fresh. Tip number 48. Choose low-fat or no-fat substitutes. Although fat gives us nutrients, it also packs on the calories. It's much better to get your nutrients from proteins and carbohydrates. It's healthier for your heart too. Tip number 49. Avoid crash diets. They are bad for your health and you will gain your weight back as soon as you stop them. Crash diets are not a solution to weight loss. You might lose a few pounds quickly, but the moment you give up on the crash diet, all your weight comes back. Tip number 50. Develop a habit of chewing all your food including liquid food and soft foods like sweets and ice cream, at least 8 to 12 times. This is essential to add saliva to the food, as it starts the digestion process. Tip number 51. Dry wine is better than sweet wine. Sweet wines naturally contain a lot of sugar, but in dry wines, most of the sugar has been fermented away. Tip number 52. When you decide it's time to start working out, start slowly and don't get discouraged if you don't achieve your fitness goals after the first week. If you try to push your body too much in the first few weeks, you are likely to end up with injuries. Tip number 53. Check your weight before you start a training routine and keep checking for changes, but do not expect a radical drop immediately. It might be a couple weeks before you notice some change. However, it is crucial that you continue to monitor your weight. As you're losing fat weight, you're gaining muscle mass, so your overall weight may not change as dramatically as you would like it to. Your size, however, will decrease, so measure your body regularly too. Tip number 54. When you notice a change, reward yourself, but not with food. Go to a movie or buy yourself something like a new dress or accessories. This can help keep you motivated. Tip number 55. Take a day off from exercise every week. Your body needs a day or two each week to relax and rejuvenate itself. Tip number 56. Exercise outdoors as much as possible. It gives your body a chance to get fresh air and sunshine. It also keeps you perked up and it's a break from being inside all day. Tip number 57. Exercise at home. You don't need to join a gym to exercise. You don't even need to buy exercise equipment. Visit the library or look online for exercises you can do without equipment. If you do want to get some equipment, a Wii Fit is a great investment and it makes exercising a lot of fun. Tip number 58. Exercise with a friend. Ideally, it should be somebody committed to exercising like you or your interest might fade. Tip number 59. Stop when your body